So let's see the time here. I think I'm going to start so that we can cover. We have a lot to cover, but the good thing is that we not too many people, so we can. It's going to be easy for you to ask questions, and hopefully for us to give answers. So just to make sure that you're in the right place here, it's the Zend DevTools ecosystem session. The speakers today, my name is Michel Gérin. I'm the general manager for the developer tools at Zend. With me, we have Kaloyan Raev, and Kaloyan right here is the Zend Studio team lead. He will show us what's cool and new with Zend Studio 13, especially around PHP 7 support. We also have Daniel Berman, and Daniel is our product evangelist at Zend. Daniel works with, welcome guys, with the product management group, and he is the, what I like to say, our product an extraordinaire. He's actually the person behind a lot of the documentation in our products. He is also the voice in all of our videos, I would say, or most of our videos. So the British accent is Daniel.
You're just saying that because you got a French accent.
Exactly. I have to listen to the British accent. And for a French guy, it's tough. I'm kidding. All right, so what we're going to talk about today on the agenda, we'll try to go a little fast because there's a lot to cover. We have quite a bit of products, as you know. And last year, we actually had just one session only for Studio. And this year I decided to, hey, since I'm in charge of all the tools, let's try to actually talk about all those tools, which sometimes they don't get much exposure, right? Like Zend Guard. So we're going to talk about the Zen PHP Development Lifecycle. What does that mean, and what does it mean for you? We'll go over Zend Studio, highlight what is Zend Studio for those who might not know. Then what's new is Zend Studio 13. And where it will be followed by that demo of PHP 7 in Zend Studio that you'll see. We talk about how to protect your code with Zend Guard. Zend Guard is a really neat tool that's actually doing extremely well, but without us really doing much marketing for it. And I think it's because people pretty much understand what it is and what it does and the benefits of it. We'll talk about Zen Server 8.5, and Daniel will give us a demo on what's new with 8.5, and especially also around the PHP 7 support. You heard, if you were at the keynote, about the technology preview with Zero standalone. We will try to make it work here, since it didn't work there. Right, Daniel? No pressure. So that's actually really cool. Zero standalone, as it was explained there. For those who know Zero is part of Zend Server today. It's a key feature of Zend Server. We took it out because Microsoft has asked us to take it and integrate it with their platform, Azure platform. So we did that for Microsoft. And when we started to do it with Microsoft, then other vendors came to us and said, we want to do the same thing. We also had developers say, hey, I want to use it on my own stack. So it starts getting, we see demand. And so for us, right now, it's still not a product. And before we make it a product, because it, it requires a lot of resources to make a product, we want to make sure it's the right thing to do. And so this is why we need you guys' feedback and help to tell us, yes, this is something that's useful that I can use on my own stack. Then we'll talk about the Zend suite of development tools, what it is, what are all those tools, what is the Zend DevTools ecosystem. This is the title of the session here. That means not only you get our tools, but what do those tools allow you to do, which is mainly to work with other technologies right around it. And how to get involved. And I think there's some cool things for those people who want to get involved with us. In our product, like I'd like to say, our products are only as good as the feedback we get from you guys. And there are some people that are just amazing and I would like to highlight today. Some are not here, some are here. those who are not here is because they're giving the sessions. Those who couldn't make it to ZenCon, right? But we have, for instance, the Z team, which is kind of amazing. And then we have some time, I hope, for question and answers, especially if I don't take 10 minutes to go over the agenda. Right. All right, let's talk about Zend Studio. Zend Studio, anybody is not familiar with Zend Studio? You know Zend? No? Okay. That's an integrated development environment for people who might not know. So, of course, it includes a really powerful editor. It includes really strong debugging capabilities that you'll see. It's based on Eclipse. So, of course, what that means is that you not only get PHP support, but you get a lot of other language if you want that you can extend to, and also all the plugins, extensions, and add-ons that come with the Eclipse ecosystem. We are also one of the PHP IDE that support mobile in a nice way. We have actually support for AngularJS, the JavaScript platform, Ionic and Cordova, all mobile technologies. We have included Magento support, and mainly actually thanks to some two key Z team members who are Magento experts and told us it would be nice if you guys could support Magento in that way with Studio. We also have Docker, Git flow support, and of course now we support PHP 7 all the way to the older versions. Please come in and take a seat. We also have a big cloud support. So we support all the cloud vendors, cloud platforms out there. AWS, of course, Azure, and many of the others. We also support Red Hat. We support IBM Bluemix. We support, you mentioned them. And by the way, we have a perpetual license. I added this because it's amazing. In the last few months, we got questions. How's your license? What kind of license do you have? So, and how does it work? So it's a really perpetual license. That means if you buy Studio today, you can use that version of Studio forever. Sometimes people have questions around what is the renewal, right? What do I need to renew? Right? The renewal is like the old days. I hate to say that because I look like the old guy, but it was the upgrade. Like the Microsoft. Well, you have to buy an upgrade. Well, here you buy a renewal, which means that if you have upgrades during that year of renewal or that time of renewal that you're buying, all those upgrades are free. And so typically we have about 2 versions that comes out, 2 big versions a year. So you get 2 versions for free, right? But for free, for the price of the renewal. What's new in Zend Studio 13? So Zend Studio 13 came out about 2 weeks ago. Of course, there was a big effort to support PHP 7. So the editor is really supporting the new PHP 7 features. We also have a nice migration wizard that allows you to look at your PHP 5 code, 5.6 let's say, and it will give you, it will assist you on what needs to be done to really take fully advantage of PHP 7. It's a really nice tool, and this is what Kaloyan is going to show us after. We have some new Docker management tools. It gets support with now the flow branching model support. It's based, the new version is based on the new version of Eclipse. Actually, Kaloyan's team is doing an amazing job now to really keep on track with what's coming out of Eclipse and making sure that we support the latest Eclipse version. So that's the Mars version. Something interesting for the first time, which was actually a shocker for me, is that Studio is available as an Eclipse plugin. So that's pretty cool. What that means is that if you already have, for people who already have Eclipse on their machine, they might be using Eclipse for Java, for instance, development. They no longer have to, they no longer have to download the entire packaging that we had, which is Eclipse plus the Studio features. Now they can just download the plugin for Studio, so it's a lot more convenient for those people. What's new, it's way faster. Actually, Kaloyan's team did an amazing job to really focus on performance. They've been focusing for performance about a year and a half, right? For a year and a half now. And for every version that comes out, you can see how the improvement and the speed of execution and everything. They also spend a lot of time on the debugger. We were getting a lot of feedback on things that people would like to see work differently, you know, the flow, the debugging. So a lot of time was spent there. And I think there's a really, for those people who have seen, who have been working with Studio in the past, I mean, I invite you to look at it. And the 13, especially in the debugging area, you'll be impressed. I mean, it's pretty good. And of course, a tighter integration with Zen Server. Zen, oh, I think I went too fast. Yes. Here you go. Nice time for the demo.
Okay, so let me show you a quick demo of one of the important features that we have in Zend Studio 13. Okay, so one of the top features that we have is support for PHP 7. The support itself is not very exciting because you see here I have in the PHP editor some of the new features of PHP 7 used, but there is nothing exciting because it just works. There is no wrong validations. You see you can use group statements, the new uniform syntax. If you place this kind of parentheses on this place, you have no error. We support the spaceship operator, anonymous classes, and so on. So just as a feature, it's not very excited, but it's there and it works. Also, we bundle, here you can see that we bundle as an add-on a PHP 7 binaries that you can install with a one click, and just to try and use PHP 7 and take a look at the new features. You can run it as your scripts with these binaries without the need to download any PHP executables from anywhere. If you want to start a new project, it's the usual way. You go to new projects, then you pick up a local project, and then from here you can change the version to PHP 7 instead of the default one, which is PHP 5.6. Apart from this, we focused on something that we believe that anyone would need right now. PHP 7 is not official yet, so we don't expect people to jump on it today or tomorrow, maybe in a few months. But even today, we believe that most of you would want to see if your code is ready for PHP 7. So PHP 7 was designed to be mostly backward compatible, but as every new major version of PHP, there are some incompatibilities. And we have a tool that actually will show if your code will suffer from these incompatibilities. So let's take a look, for example, on this Joomla project. So we have the tool called PHP 7 Express, and if I run it, it will tell me that it will scan my code. It takes advantage of the semantic analysis feature that we have in Zend Studio, and it runs some checks that are related to PHP 7 incompatibilities. And we can see that I have here a new view, PHP 7 Express, and it finds a few issues in the Joomla code that will be affected, that will actually affect the code if it's run on PHP 7. For example, we have here found one class that has the name string, and string is now a new keyword in PHP 7, so the parser will fail when it reaches this class. Another thing is here we see that we have a lot of functions, like for example from the MySQL extension, this is the deprecated MySQL extension, or also here about magic quotes, and all this deprecated functionality that was deprecated at the lifespan of the PHP 5.x versions is now completely removed in PHP 7. So none of these functions are available in PHP 7 anymore, and this code will fail for sure. So you can go there and examine why I have here used, for example, this deprecated MySQL extension. Now it's really time to migrate to the new MySQLi extension, because otherwise your code will not work. And there is one more pretty interesting check that we do. It's what you see here, this dereferencing syntax things. It's about the new universal syntax, I always forget this name, is the uniform variable syntax feature. And let's go to the Joomla. If I double click on one of it here, you will see that it's about this kind of expressions that can have different meaning in PHP 7 rather in PHP 5. So in PHP 5, this expression will be evaluated in 2 steps. First, it will evaluate the right-hand side, and then after this is evaluated, it will evaluate the rest of the expression. In PHP 7, it's the opposite. It will evaluate first the left-hand side, and then it will apply this array operator here. So these are 2 completely different meanings. So PHP 7 Express will find this this type of expressions, which otherwise you would find pretty hardly. It's not that easy. It's easy to find if you, by searching, to find if you're using the deprecated MySQL extension, but it's not easy to find this kind of expressions. And here we also have a quick fix with the usual Ctrl+1 shortcut, and we have a quick fix to insert the braces on the correct place, so we retain the PHP 5 meaning for this expression. And you see that we have some braces here wrapping the right-hand side, and if I save the editor, now this validation is gone. And now, even if we execute this code in PHP 7, it will behave the same way like in PHP 5, because these braces tell the interpreter to execute first the right-hand side and then the rest of the expression. So that's on me, and we can switch back to the slides. Oh no, trying to connect. Okay, we have some networking issue. So if I have no connection, I cannot switch to presentation mode.
Do you want to move to?
Yeah, I can move the slides.
Yeah, we can do
You
that.
can move to my.
No,
slides.
it's a connection issue with the network. Or we can
These
move.
are PowerPoint, they're not on Google.
Okay, so
Right.
we can move to the next laptop anyway. We need for the next demo the next laptop. During this time, you can talk about Zend Guard.
Zend Guard, here you go. So, how many people are familiar with Zend Guard? So Zend Guard is our tool to help you protect your applications, right? Your PHP application. So it supports actually PHP code from 5.3 all the way to 5.6. It's it helps you encode. It's an encoder, it's an obfuscator, and it's also a license management tool. So it helps you manage your licenses. It's actually Zend Guard is designed to protect your code, your applications against reverse engineering or against unlicensed use, right? And so one of the features I talked about is the obfuscation. So obfuscation is actually the idea of making your code unreadable, or let's say very hard to read, right? This is pretty much what it does. It takes so the tool takes your code that you see the code on top and then mess it up, right? So that nobody can read it or really understand your code. The second feature is called encoding. Encoding is kind of, it's, if you want, similar to encryption. So the idea here is that it takes your code and let's say a text file, your text PHP file, and convert that file into a binary format, right? That's going to be, that binary will run on any platform, by the way. So that's the, and this is really to really help you, protect that application that you have. And of course, the other part is the license management.
Need to focus.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about Zen Server part. So this is,
Yep.
you ready? Okay.
See if this works.
So Daniel is going to be talking about Zend Server and also Zero as a tech preview.
Okay, so first of all, I want to apologize. Some of the stuff I'm going to go through, you already saw Zev doing. Zev doesn't share his slides with me yet. So it might be a bit repetitive, so I apologize for that. So, a few questions to you first. Who here has used Zend Server, uses Zend Server? Z-Team, put your hands down. You can put your hand down. Again, sorry. Okay, cool, good to know. So, Zend Server, to those who don't know, is a web application server for developing, debugging, deploying, and monitoring PHP web and mobile applications. Did you write that down? It's a long one. So basically, it's a certified, fully supported PHP stack with over 80 of the most popular PHP extensions and libraries. It can be installed on almost any operating system, and with the Nginx, Apache, IIS, whether it uses IIS. It also runs on the major cloud platforms, Amazon, Azure, and as of this morning, also Google. It comes with also a bunch of value-add capabilities, including debugging tools, Zero, performance enhancers, page caching, data caching, job queue, and monitoring capabilities. From the request level to the application level, Zend Server does it all. So, Zend Server 8.5 came out in July with a bunch of new features. I'm not going to go through the whole list. I think Andy touched upon most of them here. But most importantly, I want to stress out two facts. First of all, I think this is the first time that many of the features in this version were based on user feedback. Okay, that's really important for us. Of course, we got feedback in the past, but this is the first time we actually listened to the feedback. No, but this version really is the first version where so many of the features is based on stuff that users sent to us. For example, improvements in Zero.
British humor, guys.
Yeah, it's a bit slow, I can see. Don't warm to it. So, for example, Zero, enhanced Zero, we really improved on the WordPress support in Zero, and that was mainly based on WordPress developers. Anybody develop WordPress here? Not you, Matthew, again. Okay, but we got really good stuff from WordPress core developers who helped us improve the WordPress support in Zero. So that was really cool. Job queue as well. Also feedback from some of our customers. And the second fact, probably more important, is that the first time Zend Server became open to community innovation. Now, what do I mean by that bombastic declaration? What I mean is Zend Server users can now extend Zend Server to support their applications, their platforms, whatever they're working on. Okay? And they do this using a new plugin system. Okay? And a Zend Server plugin is basically a code snippet, PHP, that can extend Zen Server in either or both of the following two ways. The first way is to define the routing logic for your application. Okay? By doing that, basically Zen Server can understand your applications better, and it will display results in different monitoring features in Zen Server better. Sorry. Okay, and the second type is the Z-Ray plugin. And a Z-Ray plugin basically extends Z-Ray by adding more panels to Z-Ray. I'll see this in a second. Okay, it's demo time. Let's see what we have here. Alright, so what you're looking at now is a PrestaShop application deployed on my local Zend server. Anybody here heard of PrestaShop, by the way?
I'm afraid to
Matthew,
raise my hand, but I'm going to
get
anyway.
out. Matthew, get out. I'm sorry. It's basically an e-commerce platform. They're competing with Magenta. They're not competing with Magenta.
Oh, thanks.
But okay, so what you're seeing is the application. You can see Z-Ray at the bottom. Okay, displaying all the built-in PHP panels, information on the request, performance data. You've got errors and warnings here, exceptions, and database queries. You saw all this stuff in the keynote, so I can move on. This is the Zen Server UI. Okay, and for those who don't know, the Zen Server UI is basically the management dashboard for Zen Server. You can access almost, 90% of the Zen Server features through the UI. You can configure your PHP stack through the UI, configure monitoring rules, enable, disable PHP extensions, etc. What I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to the plugins, the gallery. Okay, you saw this, Zev showed it. And the gallery is basically an online marketplace for plugins developed by and for Zen Server users and Z-Ray users. Okay, it shows all the information about the available plugins. So you can just browse through the different plugins. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for the Presta.
By the way, to give credit to where it belongs, the magenta one you see here was created by Matthew right here.
Amazing plugin.
Yeah.
And
I'm jealous of the WordPress.
And the
plugin.
Wi-Fi
They have
is
graphs.
acting up.
Adding
Yeah.
graphs. Pull request.
So, after the Wi-Fi finally managed to work properly, we get a result. We see a PrestaShop plugin. We're going to hit the more details, and we get all the information we want about the plugin. Description, details about the package, the developer, amount of downloads. This is actually a pretty new, I think only last week it was uploaded to the gallery, if I'm not mistaken. No prerequisites, license details, and a changelog. Not much there because it's the first version. So I'm just going to install it. I'm going to hit this install button. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is not going to act up. So what it does is actually fetching the package from Zen.com servers. I'm just going to go through this quick deploy plugin wizard. It's showing all the information about the plugin we saw earlier in the details. And hit deploy. That throbber's just throbbing. Oops. And hopefully it should be deployed soon. Come on.
Are all plugins free?
All plugins are free. Yeah, it's all open source at this stage, basically. and we'll talk about because the plugins are not just available in Zen Server, they're also available in Zero standalone version. We'll get to that soon. This is just taking too long.
They're also pretty easy to write. I mean, it's pretty
Yep.
easy to actually extend it. Write your own
Yep.
plugins.
There is a session on that, by the way,
There
on
is.
how to create Zero.
Yeah, there's a session about how to create plugins, Greg, I think, but it's now. It's taking place now, so you're going to miss on that. All the documentation for developing plugins is available on GitHub. There are also a few very useful blog posts out there. Whoever's interested in developing plugins, please drop me a line. Just ping me, and I'll help you out, get you started. As soon as this plugin just doesn't seem to be...
I think you might want to skip it, Daniel.
Yeah.
We have only 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, but essentially, once it's deployed, you
Yes.
get it.
Question?
No, at the end. Do you mind? Okay, sorry. Okay, so basically at the end of deployment, you'd see an extra panel here, but just for an example of how that would look like, let's check out, what have I got here? I think I've got a WordPress. Surely I've got, no, I don't have a WordPress.
You've got that. You can go on the demo.
No, I've got a Magenta. But this, okay, so basically you saw this, Zev showed it, you get this extra panel at the end showing you application-specific data only relevant to Magento development. Okay, so you see all the different panels here. Ask Matthew afterwards, he'll explain everything.
Or come see my talk on it tomorrow.
Even better. Okay, so that's what Zero plugins do. Of course, once deployed, if that ever happens, it does happen. Trust me, it happens. Plugins are easily manageable through this Manage Plugins page. You can easily get updates. If a new update comes out, you'll see it here. For example, the Laravel, there's a new plugin version available. You just hit the update, and you go through the same deployment process. You can disable plugins, remove them. Very easy. So that's all about that. Let's go back. Okay, so you heard the announcement. Zend Server with PHP 7 technology preview is out. It is a technology preview, okay, with all the fine print that accompanies a technology preview. It's available only on Linux for now. Debian, Ubuntu, and CentOS. But we really want feedback. So just feel free to download it. The URL for trying it out, and if the Wi-Fi can resume, is up here. Okay, so it's basically products, server, PHP 7, tech preview. Whoever wants to try it out, just let me know, and I'll help him out. Yeah, so Zero standalone. Like Michel said, when we came out with Zero, it was Zend Server 7. Okay, that was over a year and a half ago, I think. And we started to get feedback, okay, from PHP developers saying, okay, yeah, Zend Server's awesome, Zero is amazing, but you know, we've got our PHP environment all set up. We don't want to disrupt it. We don't want to install Zend Server. So we started to look into taking Zero out of Zend Server. And we worked with Microsoft. Michel mentioned it. So I don't know, 6 months now? Something like that. Zero is available as a separate component. So if you're developing PHP apps on Azure Web App Service, you can use Zero. All you have to do is then click one button, and you've got Zero working on your PHP apps. Okay? So that proved to us, A, that people want it, there's a demand for it, and B, that it's technically feasible. So we're happy to announce this technology preview. Again, we really want feedback, so it'd be great if you guys could try it out. The features that are included, you can see the list here, but let's move on to the demo and see it for ourselves. Okay, so this is A WordPress application deployed on a normal PHP stack, Apache, and if you don't believe me, all you have to do is look at the Z-Ray logo at the bottom. No, I'm kidding, actually. I knew you guys wouldn't believe me, so I prepared. And yeah, no, you know, good old PHP info. Ah, there you go. Okay, so I'm not kidding. This is it's not Zen Server. So yeah, so Z-Ray standalone can now be installed on your PHP stack, just like any PHP extension. You get all the features you get with Z-Ray on Zen Server, you get it on Z-Ray standalone. Okay, and you saw a brief look at the UI. So let's open the UI and see what it looks like. Okay, it's opening the management dashboard. And basically what you're going to get here, you're going to get Z-Ray Live for debugging non-browser based requests. That's mobile requests, APIs, CLI calls. Z-Ray Live is going to track them. Access modes for using Z-Ray in production. This is a new feature, Z-Ray History. You can see a list of all the past Z-Ray on past requests. I don't know why you're not seeing anything now. Ah, there you go. So you're going to see a list of all the requests made in the past, and you can drill down into those requests. And you get the plugins. Okay, you get the plugins, you get the gallery, and again, all this is available for installation on your PHP stack as a standalone extension. Okay, that's it for now.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Like my demo. So let's talk a little bit about the Zend ecosystem, since it's the title of the session. So let's start from the bottom here. We start with the Eclipse development platform, right? And as we say, everything that comes with Eclipse, the plugins and add-ons, this is part of the ecosystem that you get with when you get in, our tool here. The deployment platform, we can deploy on most, if not all, of the cloud vendors, the cloud platforms out there. Also, we support Linux, Mac, Windows. You see Docker and IBM also for people who are on IBM. The frameworks, we support most of all the PHP frameworks, of course, some JavaScript frameworks, and the application now we're really into helping, and supporting those applications. And we're talking with Magento. This is the first of it that we talked about, but then also Drupal, WordPress, Joomla, and Sugar. There's also actually a slide that I would like to show you that we skipped at the beginning that I think is interesting. Yes, that's the one here. That one is important because it gives you a representation of how all of our products here that we're talking about fit together inside that development process that you guys go through, right? So when you're starting from development to debugging, protecting your application, and deploying your application. So for each section, you can see, what we support, what we provide, right? For the development for you with Zend Studio and all the frameworks. For debugging, of course, the Xdebug, Zend Debugger, included in Zend Studio, and also the Z-Ray. You can use Z-Ray for debugging. It's actually a really nice debugging tool. When it comes to protecting your application, I already talked about it. Zend Guard, of course, and deploying, so you can deploy on your own stack, of course, or on Zend Server. You can deploy on your private server or in the cloud, right? So everything here is a nice slide that puts everything in perspective, I think. Let's go back to here. Did I miss one? No? Okay. No. Getting involved, and I think I mentioned it to you earlier, but our product are only as good as the feedback that we get from you. So I really encourage each time that I can for you guys to get involved and give us feedback. It could be any way. It could be sending us an email from participating in tech previews like the Z-Ray tech preview we have right now. Participating in our early access program. You have no idea how helpful it is. Kaloyan can speak for Studio, he really is eager to get feedback early on in that early access program, from what features that are coming out, which one you like or not, and based on that, you will decide which one you keep in the product or not. So it's very interesting. The forum, you can always use the forum, to give us feedback. Then surveys. We have ongoing surveys, but we also have surveys that sometimes we send to you, and we're hoping that your email doesn't end up in the file, in the spam folder. And if it doesn't, please fill out those surveys, because we use the result of the surveys and the feedback you give. We actually read each one of them, believe it or not, and to make sure that each time that we build the roadmap or we work on the roadmap, we go over those surveys and the feedback. And then, of course, the Z team. So you see, I don't know if any of you know the Z team. There's 2 Z team members right here that are present. I started that Z team about, I would say, a year ago, a year and a half ago, and it's been tremendously successful. And the reason is because it's amazing. There are people like you who are willing to really help out, that really like what Zend is doing, the Zend products. And it could be even just the open source products or the proprietary product. And they're getting involved from, creating an extension like we talked about, like Matthew created the extension for Magento in Zero, from doing webinars. Some will participate in webinars with me. Some will do seminars. Some will do. Actually, some go as far. And Cyril is the one that I have never seen this before. Actually, in all the companies I've worked at, he actually created his own not ZendCon but Zend event in Paris, where he had about 200 people, and he did it on his own. It's like, and that was really fantastic. He had 4 Z team people who came. We did sessions, so one on Docker, one on Magento, and using our product, all about using Zend product, and I thought it was really impressive. Actually, I've never seen anybody like Cyril, and Cyril actually won this year award for the best Z team member, and I don't know how to describe it because it's a machine. I mean, he is actually working in France, working in Brazil. He's doing evangelism of our product in French. He's doing them in Portuguese. It's just mind-boggling. He's doing webinar in Portuguese, webinars in French. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So congratulations, by the way, for winning the award. And it's, any of you would love to have you guys on there. The developer suite, the 4 main products that we have here. So we have Zend Studio, Zend Guard, Zend Server. Today still with Zero, so that's why it's still the same guy, same elephant. And then our open source products, Zend Framework. Packaging, and so I always get questions on that. So all of those products are available individually or standalone if you want. But they're also packaged. We have a developer bundle that includes Studio, Zen Server, and Zen Framework. And then we also have a developer suite, so it's the same as the developer bundle if you want, but it adds Zend Guard to it. Okay, it wouldn't be my job if I wasn't, giving.
Showing off.
Exactly, showing off the companies who are actually big users of of all of our tools here. So it's just a subset, And that's it for the presentation. I want to thank you all for coming here, especially for finding the room. That's really awesome. And let's make sure that you have some time for questions. If you have questions, there's Kaloyan and also Daniel here to answer the questions.